All good. Right, hello everyone. Leigh Ashby here from Motocross Memories Worldwide. As many of you know now, I've been doing some special Speedway interviews in the last few weeks, and I've got another special one for you this evening. I've got no other than the amazing legend of Speedway, Mr. Leigh Adams. How's it going, Leigh?
Yeah, good, Leigh. Yourself?
Not too bad, thank you. I really appreciate your time and coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
No probs, mate. No hassles.
Absolute privilege to get to speak to you, that's for sure. Right, here we go then. I'll get you some questions going. How did you get into Speedway, and what is your earliest memory of the sport?
Look, in Mildura, Phil Crump. It was all based around Phil Crump. He was the hero basically, and Speedway was pretty much every Sunday, if not every second. So it was massive. He'd paved the way, gone to England, set up a career and all that. So basically I started when I was 9, the junior club. So my dad was involved with the junior club, and they decided to build junior speedway bikes. So before that I was just doing motocross, enduros, all that sort of stuff. And then they decided they'd build junior speedway bikes and put a track on the centre. And my dad was involved with building the bikes. My brother and I got a bike each. I think there was 8 bikes built or 10, something like that. Yeah. And then bang, that was it. So I was only 9 at that stage. Got involved with the juniors, went right through the juniors. When you turn 16, you just naturally just go onto a 500. And then, so within a couple of years there I was in England. So... but yeah, it was all based around Crumpy, basically. He paved the way for everybody, really, from Mildura. So, pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool as well. And from a personal point of view, he was actually my first Speedway idol, racing with Swindon, obviously. So yeah, that's pretty cool that he paved the way for a lot of you guys.
Yeah, look, it was fantastic for me when I went up onto 500s. He was still very competitive, probably in his latter part of his years, but. Still competitive, still a bloody hard rider to try and learn or race. Yeah. You're so big and strong and whatnot. But yeah, look, Mildura track was pretty difficult back in those days. It was quite flat, fairly small, very grippy. The perfect track to learn off, really. So, that's why we've had so many riders come through. It was one of those tracks where if you didn't learn it properly, it bit you and put you in the fence. So, I was really lucky to, and obviously then got involved with Streety, and Streety took me to England, and, the rest is history, really.
Okay, cool. The next one I got is, what riders did you look up to and idolise when you were young, and why? And did you ever actually get to race against any of your heroes and idols?
Certainly, obviously, Crumpy was one, but Hans Nelson was the king back then, sort of when I first went to England, he was, winning world championships and all that. So, I was lucky enough through a sponsor my first year, invited me up, and I went up and had lunch at Hans's place. And, you can imagine it was pretty seeing the workshop and, the big house and all that. So, he was kind of my hero back in those days. But obviously, my first few years, Crumpy was the king, basically. Yeah.
All right, you'll have to keep an eye out for that then, because I literally 2 or 3 days ago I did an interview with Hans Nielsen as well, so that was amazing.
Happy days. Happy days.
That was pretty cool. Very cool. Yeah. Okay, next question. Who were the toughest riders to compete with in the British League racing days, and why?
You'd have to say Nicky Pedersen.
Yeah.
Look, Crumpy, Jace, he was always hard, and, we always had a fair rivalry and wanted to beat each other. We were good mates, but always wanted to beat each other. So he was pretty tough, but Nicky, hands down, and to be honest, back in my era, it was Nicky at his best, at his dirtiest, basically, He was a complete hard nut. So, we all had to go through it in the GPs, and, he was riding for Eastbourne in the British League. So he would be the hard one, definitely.
Okay, that's cool. The next one I got was there a certain bike stroke engine that you rode over the years that was a bit of a favourite? And if so, can you remember what year and why that was?
Yes. So I was when I first came over to England, I was on Goddens.
Yeah.
I then went to GM uprights, and then for some reason, when the laydowns come in, the Jawas took off. So I was on Jawas for many years and probably stayed on them for a little bit too long. But then in, what was it, 91, was it? I think hang on. No, sorry, 207. 207, I went back to GM's, and my first engine I bought was one from Brian Carger, and that was my favourite. So I used to have names for all my engines, and that was the Don. So that was my first GM. I've still got it actually in my house here. I've got it in a frame, and I've kept that one. So I think, Lee, I won probably 5 GPs with that engine. So yeah, that was my favourite, and that's the one that I've kept basically. So, but yeah, then went on and to run GM for the rest of my career basically from then on. So, yeah.
Did you have a certain couple of engines for Swindon and things like that, or?
Not really. It's weird. I did have me big and small track engines and stuff like that, but I could adapt me big stuff to go and race at Arena Essex and places like that, So I kind of see all these guys there, they're just so headstrong and, that engine won't work there and that won't work here, and which, mate, if they tried it, it probably would. They'd get by, So, yeah, look, I was lucky to be involved with some really good tuners then too. So I had Carger doing a lot of my European stuff, and then Peter Johns. He was pretty much from my first, or probably my second year I came to England. He did all my English stuff and some of the GP stuff. So and a nice guy to go with it. Both of them, Carger and Peter, were good guys to work with. So yeah, it was good.
Okay, cool. What were your favourite tracks in the British League and why? And anywhere else in the world that you had favourite tracks as well?
In the British League would have to be Swindon. Obviously many years there and got to know it pretty good. And yeah, it was a real races track. You could get on and have a real go on it. What else? Pool, I didn't mind Pool, and especially when I went and signed there, and you get into the groove of things, and get set up. It was a pretty cool track. It was really committed. You had to be right on the fence basically, and whatnot. But those two probably. I always had good meetings around Rita Essex, always. But then nowadays I look at Bellevue and I'm jealous. It looks like. Yeah, that's custom built for me, mate.
Yeah, totally. Looks like it would be suited for you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love it there. It looks really cool. So, but no, Swindon, mate. Swindon, definitely.
Have you actually seen any races or video coverage of the sort of the new shape with like slightly smaller?
I have. Yeah, it looks good. Looks awesome. To be honest, that was probably Swindon's biggest downfall. I had 2 longer straights and. Especially the first and second bend, you kind of go downhill into that one. So yeah, what Terry and Ronnie have done is it looks pretty good. It looks really good.
Yeah, the passing seems to have been good as well. So that was all good.
Yeah, I've heard racing's awesome. So yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah. What tracks did you not like racing at too much in the British League, and any others around the world that you weren't too keen on?
Probably Bellevue was me bogey one, not much effort put into track preparation and, Ginger was up there. So it was always a tough one to go there and get on with, and the track was always just diabolical. It was so crap. So yeah, that was probably me bogey track. Wolverhampton was a tough one to get around. There was really, for home track knowledge, it was a big plus. So had some good meetings there, but had some duffers too, So, but yeah, those two probably I would say.
Okay, cool. Were there any favourite levers, / Kevlars that you wore during your racing years, and why?
Not really. You get that many of them, especially
Yeah.
especially nowadays. You know, every club you go to has got a suit, and you got GP, two for GP. So, you know, through the year you probably got, I don't know, 5 or 6 suits. So no, I'd never had a favourite. I've got a heap left over basically, and just from me farewells and all that. So, but yeah, no favourite.
That was actually quite a cool one you had for your farewells as well. I remember the one in Swindon.
Yeah, I've got them. I've got them up with the bike up there, and they were really good. They were excellent,
nice.
And they were just as things were starting to get printed, the bibs and all that sort of stuff. So, you know what? My farewell here, I did a pink suit. So basically, my suit as it is in the background there, but where the red was, I put pink. That was a Swindon suit, but my own personal suit. I put pink and auctioned it off and gave the money to breast cancer. And you know what? It turned out beautiful. I had so many people come and tell me how cool this suit was. You know, it was really good, really nice.
Really nice, mate. Okay, next one. Did you used to have any superstitions or anything? Anything you specifically had to do on race days or anything like that?
Not really, no. I was pretty good. Yeah, no, nothing out of the odd. You know, it wasn't a superstition, but I used to try and either go for a push bike ride, a jog, or, you know, swim or something like that, you know, just to get the blood pumping really. And then, nothing, no jocks or anything like that.
Just as well. It seems like a lot of the guys will hang up on a lot of weird stuff. I suppose that a bit mentally tiring at times, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that would wear you out, definitely. Yeah. I know Jono was certain socks he had to have and all that, you know. So you can imagine when he was busy, he just had the one pair of socks. So.
Yeah, not cool. Okay, cool. Next one. You won an amazing 10 Aussie national titles. That was special for you. And what memories have you got of that?
Oh, you know, it was probably my early years, basically. You know, to win the first one, that was massive. That was over in North Arm. To win that one, that sort of got the monkey off me back, and then I think I went on to win 3 in a row. So, and my third one was in Mildura, so that was fantastic. That was really cool. I think I went North Arm, Brisbane Exhibition Grounds, and then the next year was in Mildura. So to win 3 in a row straight off, you know, and then obviously in my hometown, that was pretty special.
So obviously then the 10th one, did that mean a lot to you at the time?
10th was pretty cool. I guess, you know, it was kind of my latter part of my years, and, you know, all the young kids were coming through, Chris Holder and all those, like Darcy. And, that was nice to win, definitely. But, you know, I just used to enjoy doing the Aussie titles. I used to enjoy coming back and racing in front of my home, you know, sponsors and family and all that. So, I guess, you know, it's nice to get the 10th, definitely. But you don't race for records. You race to win, basically. You know, that's kind of what you race for. That's more, you know, as long as you're winning and it's enjoyable, and you know, that's the most important thing.
It was quite cool because it actually popped up on, I think it was Facebook the other day, and I actually seen your 10th title win. It must have been like the final race or whatever it was.
Okay.
I think it was Troy Batchelor, Holder might have been in the race as well, I think.
Yep, over at Gilman in Adelaide.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It just popped up on Facebook. It was good. Great memories. Did you have any injuries during your career that you feel held you back at all at any point achieving more in the sport? And if so, what was that?
Yeah, I did. I had, obviously, I had collarbones, a couple of collarbones, but they weren't so bad. They just heal and they're not a big problem. But I had a dislocated left shoulder. I fell off my motocross bike just riding around the block. And, yeah, that hindered me, you know, and I kind of was nearly at the stage to get it operated on. But back in those days, to get an operation on your shoulder, he wanted me off a bike for like 9 months or something.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it, you know. I was just like, I went to the specialist and, you know, had it all scanned and whatnot. And he goes, look, it's not perfect. He said, if you were a football player, I'd have you in and operate it on. He said, you might be able to get by just building it up and swimming and stuff like that. So I kind of took that option and then taped it for probably a good season. But, yeah, that was always in the back of your mind, you know. It was always one of those crap injuries that plays on you, basically. So, yeah, that was not good. Broken wrist. To be honest, I got out of it pretty good, really. You know, 21-year career and not that many injuries, really.
Yeah. It's pretty cool what they do now, isn't it? I've seen some of these motocross riders that are racing GPs now, and they literally could break a collarbone, pinned and plated the next day, and pretty much race in the next couple of days after that. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like, I was just reading this morning, Marquez is thinking about racing a MotoGP bike. You know, he had a broken arm, so
yeah, it's mad.
It's nuts. Yeah, it is. But getting back to the shoulder, you know, the technology they got now, basically you can have an operation, get it all sorted, and within 3 months you're back on a bike, you know. So, yeah, everything's improved in that way, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. What riders were your favourite to team ride with and why?
Look, Batch was good. Yeah. Troy Batchelor was a good guy to ride with. Probably one of my favourites, you know, was Matty Zagar. When he came to Swindon, you know, he was rock solid. You know, you want a guy that you can go out in heat 13 and 15, and you know, be rock solid with. So Zagar was good. Rick Hardson, I had a really good run with Tony, you know, through pool days. And also Sweden. So he's Avesta, which is his hometown. Man, the amount of heat 13s and 15s, we got 5-1s to win the meeting. You know, it was pretty special. It was pretty cool. So he was really cool. But yeah, probably in England, Batch or Zagar, I would say.
Yeah, cool. Remember them Zagar ones for Swindon, especially.
He was good, you know, for his size. To get around small tracks, he was unbelievable. Honestly, how he could turn a bike was amazing. And then he could go to the big ones, Swindon and all that, and still generate a lot of speed. So he was a really good rider.
Actually, I remember you had a decent run as well with Lee Richardson, didn't you? I think you won a pairs thing as well.
Yep. I had a decent run with him too, and that was good few years I was with him. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. Right, next one I got. What British track stroke venue had the best and the worst changing rooms in England? I've heard they're not that good anyway.
Stoke had the worst ones. They were just they were terrible. They were really bad. Ipswich weren't ideal. Yeah. In the elite league, you know, that was pretty gropey. But yeah, definitely Stoke. Stoke was the one, 100%.
Was there any decent ones at all?
Bradford.
Yeah.
Bradford, you know, so that was back in the day. We used to go to Bradford and
they had the rugby and all that as well.
Yeah, they had rugby, so their change rooms were just mega. You know, they were, you know, unbelievable. But yeah, it's like Swindon wasn't ideal to start with, but then they built the new one, so that improved that one. But definitely Stoke, man, those were terrible.
Pretty bad then. Okay, cool. What did you make of, and did you obviously seen about Jason Crump's unbelievable comeback that he was going to be back in the British League this year? What did you make of that?
Man, I just can't get my head around it, basically.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, he's been doing a lot of meetings back here, running him. He comes and does one in Mildura a year. And look, he's up there with them and can run with them, but you know, he wasn't certainly dominating. And you know, guys like J-Mo Lindsay and Geordie and that were beating him. So for him to come out and just go, yeah, I'm going to go to British Speedway, that was completely left field, mate. I promise you. Yeah. You know, and I kind of look and think, why? You know, he's got money, he set himself up, and everyone knew that Jason was 3 times world champion and, such a fantastic rider when he left.
Yeah.
To come and tarnish that, like everyone's going to look at him as he is now, And look, don't get me wrong, he could probably come over and pop some starts and score good points, But it was left field, mate, 100%. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I see. Because I think he's coming on a sort of he's out to come in on a 8 or a 9 average, roughly. I think something like that.
Yeah, look, he may survive. He may, keep that. I don't know what's the top averages now. What do they run at?
Yeah, Doyley's probably on a 9s, high 9.
So there's no 10, no 10s or anything like that.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, okay. Look, he may just surprise us all and just go and clean up basically. But it was weird. I don't know what his thoughts were really.
Yeah, and in Ipswich as well. They've changed it quite a bit over the years, but it's still a bit of a funny one. But
it's a tough one, but it'd probably suit him better actually, because it's a little bit technical and Ginge can ride a bike properly. So very similar to Mildura, that's what I always related back, was Ipswich and Mildura. So look, he may get by, and I'm quite sure he will. He'll make some starts, and he's got plenty of speed there. That's not an issue. But it's definitely left field.
It coincided with Nicky Pedersen coming back as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, that was really good for British Speedway. The whole thing was excellent, and to try and entice those riders to come back, that's what it needs, big time.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully next year, keep your fingers crossed, it all just pans out and comes back again.
For sure. Okay, next one. What was your most memorable race or meeting, and why does it still stick in your memory today?
Probably the 2 was my under-21 World Championship. It's weird. You probably hear a sportsman talk about it. You just get in this zone where I don't know, it's like you're in a bubble and, you're just totally focused. It's a weird, you hear these sportsmen talk about it, but I know what it's like. And that was one case where I just was totally focused, was going to win that whatever. Another one was my Lesno GP win. So when the GP went to Lesno, it was weird. It was just like, I don't know, it's like you can't even hear the crowd or anything, you just get in this bubble and off you go. So to win that one in front of a packed house at the Lesno GP, that was pretty cool. So probably Gothenburg when I won my first GP was another one. That was pretty special race. But yeah, those ones there, just fantastic.
I remember your under-21 World Championship. That was when it's Screeny and Lauren as well, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah. And Gollop was there too. So, and it rained like before the meeting, but it was a sand track, so it just absorbed water. So it absolutely tipped it down. So it was going to, everyone's like, oh, it's going to get cooled off. And, you just we sat around and then got on with it. And the track was pretty grippy and deep and whatnot, but that suited me. I liked that, mate. That was my style, basically. So
I remember your pink Axo helmet thing you had on.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's the one. Pfaffenhofen.
Yeah,
Pfaffenhofen was the place.
Great memories.
Yeah,
great one. Who were your closest friends during your Speedway career, and how easy was it to block that friendship out once the old tapes went up?
Well, probably my main friends in Speedway as riders, and that were Jono and probably Roscoe, So when I first went to England, my first year at Poole, he just had stepped down from Elite League and into the Premier sort of thing. So he was captain of Poole. So always had a really good friendship right through, then he become team manager and, whatnot. Yeah. But him and Jono were probably the 2 main ones. Jono ended up moving down to Swindon and living in Swindon. So, and always managed to keep friends. You know, there was only probably the odd year when I raced Jono. He was Oxford with me. All the rest I was racing him, so no problem. You could get on with it and race each other and, you know, have a beer afterwards.
All good then, all good. Next one. How important is it to have a mechanic that you trust and knows you well? And what mechanics did you gel with best and why in your career?
I was lucky to have some real crackers. First off, I had an Australian, a New Zealand guy. Then what did I do? I can't remember. I had Larzi from Denmark for a year or so. And then I got hooked up with some Polish guys from my club in England, in Poland, in Lesno. Okay. Billy and Mario. I don't know whether you remember those two. So Billy pretty much ran British side and the GPs, and Mario ran Poland and Sweden. But yeah, just cool guys, love work, and you know, just you could just fly around the country, turn up, and your bikes were just absolutely perfect, and you trusted them, and you know, so yeah, I was really lucky to have those two guys, big time.
Spot on them. Right, next one I got for you. Did you have any regrets from your Speedway career? Were there any certain meetings you feel you should have won or done better, or was there a team you rode for you wish you hadn't, or a team that you wish you had? Something like that.
Not really. No regrets. I would have loved to have won the league with Swindon. You know, that was probably one of my biggest gripes, basically. So, you know, it was stupid. I went to Poole and won 2 years.
Well. Yeah.
Went to Oxford and won there. Went to Kings Lynn and won the Knockout Cup. You know, but never won for Swindon. So yeah, that was one that I always wanted to do, and we ran so close. That was the worst part about it.
I know. I had a question for that as well, so that covers that. It's a shame.
Yeah, it was. The year we ran up against Wolverhampton in the playoffs. You know, that should have been our year, but to be honest, Wolves were just better. They were just a better team, and they had a little bit of home track advantage, which they used to their advantage at the first meeting, and got a good lead, and really we just couldn't pull it back, you know. So, but at the end of the day, they were better riders. They were better riders over the 2 meetings, and you know, Ty was just coming through, and you know, that was a real trump card for them. But that would be my only regret, really, not winning.
I think it looked almost, if I remember rightly, the second leg at home, I think it almost looked like it was possible. And I think heat 13, didn't Zagar get excluded for Lindgren going down, I think?
There was something going on. It was pretty tight. We gave it a fair go. Right. Yeah, we gave it a fair go, but yeah, just not enough in the tank, basically.
Okay, cool. Next one. Can you tell us a funny story from your racing day memories?
Oh man, jeez, that's a tough one. Not really. I'd put somebody in the shit, basically.
yeah.
There was never a dull moment. Jono. There was never.
Jono, I can imagine.
Jono.
He's the right talent, isn't he?
Yeah, he was. You know, to be honest, Speedway needs those people, Roscoe and Jono, the characters of the sport. You know, nowadays it's all just too professional, and everybody's just grinding away trying to earn money and do their thing. So, which is not a bad thing, but I think, you know, it's like football, everything. You need your characters, don't you?
Sure. All right, we'll save everyone graces on that one.
Yeah.
Who are your biggest influences to you in your Speedway career, and why?
Oh, geez. Probably Kylie, my wife, you know. So she, big supporter, and you know, really steered the ship. Not only tried to look after 2 kids, but you know, at our peak, just the logistics side, trying to sort out flights and, you know, vans and motorhomes and bikes and all that was massive, you know. So yeah, that's probably the biggest influence. You know, my dad was always a big supporter in my early years, and kind of set me up to where, you know, pretty much, you know, let me go and do my thing, basically. So, you know, had to do a lot of traveling and in the early days and through my junior career and all that. But yeah, probably Kylie, I would say.
Okay, that's spot on. Next one. You won a lot as a team rider and as an individual. Did you prefer to be part of a team or did you prefer as individual?
You know what? It was a nice balance.
Yeah.
I like the individual stuff, the GPs, and just go there and take your team, you know, take your mechanics and Brody and, you know, Tommy and all those guys. I had a really good team around me that, you know, we had a good laugh. But then when it come to the racing side, you know, we tried to win and yeah, so, and to be able to win and celebrate with those people, and you know, that's what it's all about. That's what Speedway's made of, basically, or any sport is to win. So it was a nice balance. I used to enjoy my team riding, and you know, I had great years at Harvester with Tony, and I think I had 10 or 12 years at Harvester, and then 15 years at Lesno. So you know, I was pretty loyal to everybody, but had good clubs, and you know, they paid and everything like that. So yeah, no, I was pretty fortunate that way.
I'd have to say, watching wise, I think you were definitely one of the best team riders I'd seen as well. The amount of riders I've seen you coax around for 4 laps with the best riders right up the chuffer, as they would call it, is amazing.
I wanted to win. That's what
yeah.
That's what you race for, you know.
Yeah.
So as captain of Swindon, you know, you wanted to win, basically. So whatever you did to get the win, you did, basically, whether it was trying to lend a bike or help them, you know, prepare or whatever. So, yeah, you always sort of put your best foot forward, and you know, I love winning, basically.
Because it can get hairy doing that, obviously, as well. Because sometimes these guys are not of the ability of, say, yourself, and you're trying to coax them around with a top guy behind trying to get through.
Yeah, tough one. You put yourself on the line sometimes.
A little bit,
sometimes bites, and yeah, that's just the way it is. Basically, that's the way teams racing works.
Yeah, you were spot on it. Next one. If you could re-race a particular meeting or race tomorrow in your full prime, where would it be and why?
Oh, you re-race, my God. Probably, you know, Wolverhampton, that the final, basically. You know, I didn't have a good meeting. I think I only got about 8 points or something like that. So I really think I could probably go and do a bit better there. But you know, and you know, we had such a deficit to go and try and win back at Swindon. It was always going to be a tough one. So yeah, probably that meeting, definitely.
Okay, cool. What do you personally feel were your best achievements in Speedway, and why?
Oh, look, I always tried to be professional, look after my sponsors, look good, you know, bike preparation and all that, you know, try and keep everything tidy, and I'm pretty sure I achieved that, you know. So I was really, really fortunate to have, as I say, good mechanics, good sponsors, Owen Brothers that just gave me vans, motorhomes and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, I always sort of had, you know, nice equipment around me, basically. So, and at the end of the day, to go and win, you had to have, you know, a good team, a good equipment, and all that around you, definitely.
Okay, cool. We all obviously seen your unfortunate incident that you had after your Speedway career had finished. What actually happened, and how are you these days with your injury?
You know what? I can't remember. I got knocked out, so I can't remember I can't remember the accident. It was a weird one. It was Fink, obviously, the desert race, and all my mates. It was always it's always June, Queen's birthday in June. All my mates used to do it. I was in Europe and racing and whatnot, so it was always kind of a bucket list thing. And I went up a couple of times and did a little bit of pre-running. So when I finished, I thought, right, here we go. My brother and I, we both ended, and off we went. Yeah, obviously it didn't turn out the way I wanted it, but look, I was just out practicing on the Wednesday, basically, and It was weird. It sort of rained in the morning, so we were humming and hawing whether we were going to go down track. And then sort of last minute we thought, oh, we'll run out and have a run. And then it was on the way back. So you sort of go down track in the morning, and then at 12 o'clock you come back the other way, so there's no accidents. So we're on our way back. It was just after lunch. It was probably about 1:30, I guess. I can't remember. I can remember I had a little oil leak on my bike, on the oil filter, and I kept looking down at that. And I think I've looked down to see whether it was going to leak anymore, and then looked up and missed a corner, and basically just gone off the bike. And to be honest, I know it's a crap deal being in a wheelchair, but I've been up there since, and there's these big rocks that I kind of landed in between. So I was pretty lucky that way. But look, I can't remember anything. I can't remember. I can remember laying on. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. I can remember laying on the track, and my brother, he was out. He was about 40 k's down the track, so he come back. I can't remember the ambulance. Nothing at all. So I remember landing in Adelaide Airport. So they had to get Royal Flying Doctors to come and get me. And then I landed in Adelaide, and I sort of woke up and said to Andrew, "What's going on?" He said, "Oh, we're in Adelaide, So that's about it. And then going to the hospital, I remember getting to the hospital and seeing Kylie there, and I'm thinking, what's going on, So, yeah, look, it's not ideal, and it's not what you want, but I'm pretty lucky. I'm a para, so that's just the lower. It's just legs, so I got my arms and all that working good. So I still get out and about, get out in the shed and build these little junior speedo bikes, which is really cool. So I was doing that prior to my accident, and then I thought, I won't be able to do it anymore. And then I sort of built. I think we tried a couple, and it wasn't bad. I could do it. So I go out there and tinker away, and I've built probably 45 of these little junior bikes, which is incredible. Like you would think they'd just get sold off and off they'd go again, but they don't. People tend to keep them, and they're a really cool little thing there, buddy. Great looking bike.
Yeah, I see some pictures on your Facebook of you doing that. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, no, look, it's really good. Without me shed, I got me shed, and I can go out and do quite a bit. You'd be surprised. You sort of challenge yourself every day, and it's I don't know. We run like a little winter series here, our junior club, and I'm involved with the junior club.
Okay.
And there's no crowd, nothing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you'll be down there and you'll look up and there'll be 4 of your bikes in a race, and I just sit back and think, how cool is that? Like that's what I set out to do, is try and get new bikes into the system, and I achieved it. So that's really good, and it sort of keeps me tinkering along now, and it's like a bit of a hobby basically. So it's good.
That's cool. That's very cool. Next one I had was, were there any riders you would say that you didn't enjoy racing too much over the years?
Nicky, mate. He's just, that's just, there's only one really. You just never knew what you were gonna get, and back in his day, I think he's calmed a lot now, and a lot of guys are sort of, I like what they've done in the GPs, when it got out of control, and they fronted him and said, listen, this is just not right. There's no respect, basically. So he's calmed a lot now, but back in my day, he was in his prime, and that was tough work.
Yeah, I remember a few incidents with Greg that was quite out there, wasn't it, in the GP? And
he
Greg had had enough.
Carved Greg up down at Prague there once, just straight in the fence. Yeah, I can remember going to Eastbourne. I think it was, I can't remember if it was, I can't remember what year, but I was, setting out to start off the season, and I had a sports psychologist, and I'd been to see him and all that, and I wanted to put a bloody line in the sand basically, and I went to Eastbourne, and I wanted to beat the guy like you wouldn't believe. And I think through the heats, he beat me once, I beat him. And then it come to heat 15, you know, and I was off gate 1, I think, and he was off 2. And we went boring in the corner, tangled up, crashed. I think we crashed twice, you know, and then it just kept getting rerun. And, mate, he was like a little bulldog. He was unbelievable. You could run into him and try and push him. And, yeah. Hard man.
I remember when there were an incident, I'm sure it was the Ben Fund. Was it? I don't know if it was...
it was the Ben Fund in Rye House. I put him over the fence.
That's it.
Yeah.
What happened with that then?
Well, you know what? It was a weird one. I did the golden helmet the previous year, and with that they used to give me, with me deal, I'd get a couple of frames. Okay. And I got these frames. I never thought about it, never put them together until the start of the next season. We put them together and they were real stiff. I used to bend me frames to try and get them to drive more. And these ones didn't bend, you know, they were real stiff and they're horrible. Anyway, I didn't think anything of it. I went to Rye House, and to be honest, that was my fault. I went boring up the inside of him and pretty much slid past the corner and just wiped him out. And I think I got knocked out and his bike ended up over on the dog track. So, yeah, that wasn't his fault. That was mine.
Yeah, the dirty Leigh Adams, eh?
That was just payback.
Yeah, one. I'm sure there was a few.
1 to 10, I'd say the ratio was.
Yeah, 1 to 10. Yeah, I think a lot of guys might have that one with him.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next one. Who would you say were the best 3 riders you ever competed against during your career, and why? Quite difficult.
Ooh. Jason.
Yep.
Tony. Tough one on that. Probably Hans. You know, Hans was a machine, wasn't he? He was just a scoring machine. You know, back in the day. You know, he. You know, when I first come to England, he could just. He was on 11-point averages and stuff like that. It was just mad. I used to look at his stats and just dream about him. You know, so yeah, probably Hans, Tony, and Jason. Tony I class as the king, the best. You know, what he achieved in his time, you know, everyone kind of relates to him and Ivan, and they both got 6 world championships, I think. But in my eyes, Ivan did it back in the day when the Poles and, you know, all the Eastern countries didn't have the equipment, you know. So in our day, all those Poland and Checo and all those guys all had the same equipment, if not better than us. You know, so for Tony to go and win 6 world championships, I class him as the king, definitely.
Cool. If you could give advice to any youngster out there that wants to start pro speedway, what would the advice be?
Look, enjoy. And you got to enjoy it. And it's really not until I've stepped back from the sport that I realise that, you know, 1, you got to enjoy. 2, the supporters, give them time, you know, because they're the ones that pay your wage, basically. You know, look after sponsors, all that sort of stuff. But it's more so, you know, my last few years, you just get buried with, you know, trying to do autographs for everybody, and especially in Poland, they're pretty passionate and want a piece of you. But it's not until it's finished you realise, well, hang on, you know, you're pretty stupid, because those guys are the ones that pay your wage. So give them back, you know, as much as you can. Enjoy it. Obviously, you race Speedway to win, basically. That's what you race for, and obviously earn a living. But, you know, you want to be able to, earn a living and win and enjoy it with your pit crew and family and all that sort of stuff, you know. So that's what it's all about, really.
I remember your farewell at Swindon, and all those Polish fans were there as well, and they had the big sign down the back straight where we always used to stand. That was my first sort of experience of the Polish fans. They're pretty much like football fans, aren't they? It's like football.
Yeah, they are.
Crowds
they are.
Chanting.
Yeah. And at Lesno, like,
cool.
my God, it was, you couldn't, to turn up every Sunday or every second Sunday and race in front of 15,000, Polish fans. It was awesome. It was fantastic. And not only that, great crowd, great sponsors, great people involved with the club. So, that I was really lucky to have some really good clubs. Swindon with Terry and all that, like, was always what you wanted, you basically got. If the track was crap, they sorted it. So, I was really fortunate to have some really good promoters and clubs to race in.
It looked unreal. I was watching some stuff on YouTube, and it was like they were doing that whole crowd were doing that Leigh Adams. It was amazing.
Leigh
Adams. Leigh Adams.
It's funny, they still do it now. Like when it comes to me birthday or something, and my sponsor Paul Copper, he'll send me a message to say, "Oh, check this out," So it was good. It was happy days, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, very good memories. Very good. Okay, next one. What other sports do you enjoy watching?
Love all my motorsports. Watch Formula One, MotoGP, all that sort of stuff. I've got into the drags. I'm into the NHRA drags. I kind of, I enjoy them. And when I was over at rehab in America, we went up to LA and watched the first round, so they're pretty cool. A thing that I've got really involved with just lately since I got injured is the enduros and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So Deck's doing a few enduros, and my nephews, they do enduros. So it's really cool. I got a four-wheeler. So I go out, they chuck me on a four-wheeler, and I basically stay on that for the day. So it's really cool. I love it. I'm out in the bush and, go and watch all the riders come through and whatnot. So, but that's kind of, all me motorsports I'm right into. I watch too much telly. That's my problem at the moment, Lee.
Yeah. With Deck as well, you said he's doing enduro, because he did have a bit of a go at Speedway, didn't he? Because I saw him sort of looking like he had your sort of levers on, that type of thing, and then
Look, he had a really nice style, really good style. He enjoyed it, but he wasn't confident with it, and he got tipped off. We ran like a winter series, and he got tipped off. Somebody ran up the back of him and tipped him over, and it was a pretty bad one. I think he got knocked out or something, and he just lost his nerve basically. So, and I could kind of see it in him, he just wasn't that enthused in washing the bike and all that sort of deal. So I said, mate, if you want to finish, just finish. So, and it didn't bother me. It was no big deal. And we went and did go-karts for a couple of years, and then basically started to do enduros, and he was kind of always doing them, since we come back, but got a little bit more involved. And he's a mechanic for the KDM shop here. So he's fully qualified now. We kind of, my shed's just full of bikes. I got KTM everywhere. So, look, I enjoy it, and he enjoys it, which is really cool. I love it.
Yeah. Two of you tinkering now, then?
Pretty much. Yeah. So I'm fortunate. I got a fair bit of equipment out there that I brought over, all my lathe and all my workshop basically. So, we kind of get out there and do a fair bit of KDM stuff and all sorts of bikes.
Cool, very cool. Do you still watch Speedway now, and do you keep in touch with it much, the GPs or anything like that? Do you keep in touch on that side?
Yeah, I do. But our telly, our Foxtel or Sky or whatever you're on over there, it's this year it was Eurosport, wasn't it?
BT, I think, is the GP,
BT for you.
Euro,
I think it was
Euro and whatever, the Euro one,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They just dropped off. I was watching at the start of the season, and our package, we lost Eurosport. So, I still keep in touch with it all. Don't really look at it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
If the GPs were on, I'd sort of record it and get up early Sunday morning and watch it. But yeah, I kind of enjoy it, and it's pretty cool. I like the way the tracks are gone now. There's a bit of dirt on the track. Pretty much back in my day was with Ollie Olsen was running it, and that's kind of why I dropped out of the GPs. Was I just didn't enjoy it, and the tracks were so slick, and like we'd go to a place like Bidgosh, which is the best racetrack in the world, and it was like a motorway, and you'd all just be lining up, and if you went to try and pass a person, you'd get past, because it was just like a blue groove, and that disappointed me. It was just crap. I just hated it. So that's really, I bailed out, and then believe it or not, Ollie bailed out the year I bailed. So, and then Tony Olsen came in and did a great job. He really picked it up. The tracks were fantastic. And nowadays, the man-made ones, like, my God, they're near on better than the normal tracks, So they've really got the recipe and the whole product very, very good. So, I enjoy watching it. And Smarshlick, Ty, all those guys, they're on it, So they've got a good little bunch of riders there in the GP.
I think like they've got like the Cardiff one and all that all dialed in now with the track. I remember when Harris won that one. I think were you in the final that time when he won that? Because everyone was like hitting ruts and going all sorts of places. It suited Harris down to the ground, the whole rough and ready grass tracky type of. But totally. Now it's nothing like that now.
I can remember our first Cardiff. We walked now and we're in this big stadium and we're just pumped. Yeah. But the track was that crap. That I remember Ollie going out with a knife, and they put like a plastic coating underneath the track to stop it going down onto the grass. And I can remember in the ruts were that deep that the plastic was showing through, and he went out with a knife and cut the plastic out,
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're just sitting there. You didn't think about it because you're in the big stadium, and you kind of get washed up with all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the man-made ones were terrible. They were disgusting.
Yeah, real bad.
Yeah,
that was mad, wasn't it? I remember it was mad. Okay, got a few more. In your era of racing, the Aussie Speedway strength and depth was majorly stacked back then. There was many great Aussie guys, as you mentioned earlier, that all coming through and everything. Did you guys all get on great, or was there a lot of rivalry as well with you guys, or how did that go down with all the Aussie boys?
To be honest, it was pretty good. Once we got to the World Team Cup, everyone just put their differences away, and we just raced. We just got on with it and helped each other. And there was probably the odd black sheep in the clan, but in general, I got on with them all pretty good. And yeah, World Team Cups were awesome. I used to love that month or that week. Sorry. Yeah. You just get together and everybody would just feed off everybody, and it was cool. It was, we a few World Cups there where we went to Poland and we'd be in Wrocław and Lesno and spend the week together, and happy days, mate. Happy days.
Was your main rival pretty much Jason then?
I would say, yeah. Yep. He was a guy that you wanted to beat the most, and we come up against each other non-stop basically. So, but then we always had a good relationship off track and still talk now and whatnot. So, it's good, really good.
He didn't used to take prisoners really either, did he, on the track?
He was hard. He was hard but fair, He would run you. He would run you, but give you room. Which Nicky would just not even bother giving you room, So there's a difference.
Yeah, you like that respect side of things.
Totally.
Sure. Obviously, you didn't quite win a world championship, and I'm sure you've heard this before. A lot of people obviously said there's been things have said about top riders. You're one of the best that's probably never won the world championship. Why do you personally feel that you didn't? And is there anything you do differently in hindsight when you think about it now?
Not really. I gave it my best, but I think the big thing there was I could ride at a really high level, consistently all around the world, basically. So I could ride at 90% pretty much all the time and score points and all that. the big thing was when you got to the GP, you had to elevate it to 110%, you know, which I probably couldn't do, and always worked on me league racing and gave it me all in me league racing, and didn't leave anything on the table there. And yeah, kind of, you got to be able to lift. You got to be able to just give it that extra little bit, and that was probably, you know, where I couldn't do it. Basically, I could just ride at that level all the time, whether it was GPs or exactly. But you know, GPs, you got to be right on the ball, basically.
What does a day consist now for Leigh Adams from the morning?
Oh man, you know what? It's weird. The easy things in life have become hard. So you know, it's stupid. Just getting dressed and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty tough. It's a tough gig, but you know, we normally get up. We're normally up around 7:30, something like that. So get up, get organised, take the dog for a walk. Got a Labrador dog, and take him for a walk, and then you know, just pretty much bury my head in the workshop and, you know, have a bit of fun in there and get on the lathe and build a bike. I've just in the process of, I normally always got one junior bike on the go at a time, basically. So yeah, just workshop, mate. Just get in the workshop, and unfortunately watch too much television and putting on weight. I'm putting on weight big time, mate. So that's a killer. But I know all my motorsports, you know, inside out. So
there's some upside down.
Yeah, but look, I got a car, you know, with hand controls and all that, so I can. I'm independent. I can run into town and get bits and pieces and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's cool. That's good. I got a little hobby farm here, so we've got probably 5 acres of oranges, something like that. So I kind of go out and do a bit of spraying and stuff like that. So yeah, you'd be surprised what you can do. There's a lot of stuff I can't do, and got to rely on my father-in-law or my dad or somebody to come over. But yeah, in general, keep myself pretty busy, so that's good.
That's good then. I was going to ask. I normally ask the guys if what their social media names are. If everyone was, is it you're just on the? Is it you just Facebook or?
Facebook. I'm not a Facebooker. I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I have got my Facebook thing for my little junior bikes and whatnot, but I'll be honest, Kylie and Casey pretty much keep that up to date. So yeah, I just get on the websites and check out all the websites and whatnot. So yeah, I'm not a Facebooker.
Okay, no problem. Is there any shout outs or anything you want to make before we go?
No, not really. Just say hello to all the supporters in Swindon and Big L and all them, and just wish them all the best. You know, it's been a tough year for everybody, hasn't it? You know, it's really hard. You know, I think everybody will be quite happy just to get 220 out of the way and just get on with 221, because it's just been a disaster. But yeah, look, just stay safe, and you know, I don't know how you guys are traveling now with your coronavirus. How's your figures?
I think it's not as bad now, but it's weirdly after it's pretty much all sort of done and dusted here. Now they're bringing in from tomorrow. You've got to wear masks in shops and things like that. Why they didn't do all that before, I don't know. But now they're bringing it in, so it's a bit of a weird one.
We got the same deal here. So Victoria, the state where I'm from, so that's Melbourne, and then I'm right at the top of the state. That's kicked off. It's gone crazy down Melbourne. There's been, I don't know, we had 400, not deaths, 400 affected. So death-wise, we're travelling pretty good. Our government got onto it quick and whatnot. And I think that's really good. And we've managed to sort of suffocate it, basically. But it's kicking off again. So, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. And, you know, what can you do? It's just a tough time for everybody.
Yeah, I think everyone has to wear it on public transport or anything like that. You've got to have your mask. And I heard the radio today. There was someone from the Royal Mail had it, and someone in Honda. You know, remember Honda, the big company? Someone there as well. So they'd shut that down for part of it as well. So yeah.
Oh dear, it's crap. Yeah, no, it's just a horrible deal. And obviously, I feel for the promoters and all that. You know, like everybody spent a lot of money just to get set up for the season, and then it hasn't happened. So that's
a weird one,
that's promoters, riders, everybody. Riders would have spent a fortune on equipment, and I know what it's like. It normally takes 4 or 5 meetings to get enough money and to pay the bills and all that sort of stuff. So tough for everybody. But mate, what can we do? We just got to plough through it and try and come out the other end.
And like you said, with this year, it was all set up quite nicely with Pedersen and Crump came back, and quite a few of the GP guys come back. It was a nightmare, really. It was all set up.
Yeah, that's a bummer. It is a bummer, but what can we do?
Fingers crossed for next season.
Exactly.
Wow, Leigh, I really appreciate your time. Amazing to speak to you. Absolute legend. Personally, a legend to watch at Swindon. Unbelievable. Top rider. One of the best I've ever seen, for sure.
Thanks, bud. Yeah, been a pleasure. Just, big hello to all the supporters over there. So have a good one.
And you take it easy, Leigh. Great to speak to you, mate.
All right, mate. Catch up. Bye.
And thanks, Leigh. Thanks, mate.